Blog Talk Radio. Chatting with Nat is a podcast for independent women seeking to speak their truth and to break down barriers. We host honest conversations that help to guide and empower women. Speak your truth and set yourself free. Let your voice be heard. Hi everyone, it's Natalie Jean. Yes, it's Nathalie Jean. Yes, it's Chatting with Nat. And today we have the amazing producer and singer-songwriter, J. Blue J. Jourden. J. Blue J. Jourden is a world-renowned producer and musical vocal artist, as well as an accomplished concert promoter, performer, having worked on and helped organize major concerts for the American Indian Movement, AIM, Wounded Knee, and The Longest Walk, the No Nukes Concert Series, Disaster Relief 96, the 40th Anniversary of Woodstock's 1969 to 2009, Westfest, and many, many more. Currently signed with Global Film Studio, he has also just been voted on their advisory board. Hallelujah. Global Film Studio is a socially active major international film company under internationally acclaimed director Bruno Pischiutta, I hope I said that right, and producer Daria Trifu. Global Film Studio is currently in pre-production of several films in Greece and other parts of the world, as well as 13-part television series in the UK, addressing important socially significant issues affecting changes in global thinking, and all done without the Hollywood standard gratuitous sex and violence norm. Storm Music Studio and their engineer have been nominated for Recording Studio of the Year and Recording Engineer of the Year, along with Jay Jourden for EP of the Year at the Josie Music Awards. Please give them a round of applause. Hi, Jay. How are you?
Natalie Jean, how are you? Thank you so much for having me on. That was quite an introduction, too. I thank you so much for that. And when you hear it spoken by somebody else sometimes, it sort of, reflects a little bit larger than life. All those years, they just sort of fly by. And next thing you know, it's where did the time go? But, it's an honor to be on here in the show with you, with the great Natalie Jean, and I wanted to take a couple seconds to just congratulate you too first before we get going on everything you're doing. I look up to you a lot, and I got a lot of respect for you for what you're doing out there in the music world, and so hats off and kudos to you too, Natalie Jean.
Oh, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And, having you on here is a great honor and pleasure. I've only had one other guy on the show, but I'm starting to think that at least once a month, I should have at least two guys or maybe one guy on the show once a month, because, there are a lot of men like you that support other women in the music industry, and you're doing great things. And I think we should honor all of you guys out there, because it's the women it's about together we are stronger, and the men that support us. So I really appreciate that. So how have you been during this entire pandemic?
Well, it's been trying, to say the least. I just, with things being shut down and not being able to socialize quite right with what we're used to, is like being, maybe in crowds or in a situation where we can, even when we're recording, we're having to separate microphones now. And when I used to really like to put all my vocalists a lot of times around one, I call it gang vocals. I put 3 or 4 or 5 singers around one mic, and that's just a little old school, but that's the way I grew up doing it, and it works, and I love that style. So my recordings lately seem a little bit more cleaner and crisper with different separations of the vocals. So there's some good in that, and I think this pandemic thing has been a learning curve for all of us, especially in the entertainment world, when all of us really thrive on being in the public view and performing or rehearsing, whether in blocks of crowds of people where we're not used to being, blocked off. And so it's been trying. It's been very trying. But I hopefully it's fading away. It seems like it's disappearing, and things are getting better. They've got different strains out now, and it's, we've all got to be careful with our health. And I think the most important thing is everybody should just take care of their health as much as possible, and then do the right thing with your body and your temple, and you can probably ward off a lot of those germs and things like that.
Yeah, no, definitely. It has definitely been a crazy time. One of the questions I'd like to ask in regards to the pandemic is basically how your mindset has changed about certain things. And what I mean by that is that during the pandemic, obviously we've kind of had a year off, or more than that, to be able to think about who we want to be in this world, because during this past year and obviously the past 6 years has been kind of crazy. No matter how you spin it, no matter what your viewpoints are on different views, it's just been incredibly rough. And then there's been moments where people have come together. But at the same time, we start to think about who we are as artists, who we are as producers, who we are as people. So during the pandemic, did you take time to self-reflect? Did you change about your mind about who you want to be as an artist, who you want to be as a producer, who you want to be in general?
Well, that's an interesting aspect of it, too. When it really hit and we started to have to hunker down, and I'm totally self-employed with my own little small business, so I have the luxury of not having to go out to an office or commute. But it's still, there was a feeling of, I'm not going to say isolation so much, but where we were all kind of, and I'm going to speak for me, kind of maybe not forced, but having to decide to stay in, and stay away. And so as that happened, more and more, I sort of became more inner reflective of, yes, what I am as an artist. Different songs started coming to me that maybe wouldn't have been written if it weren't for the pandemic, because with everything going on in the outside world, it created those thoughts and those needs and desires to see things a certain way, and how I can address those things is through my music and through my lyrics. And so, it's given me a chance to be a little bit more introverted. I'm an outgoing guy, and I'm not used to being solo that much, alone, in seclusion, like a Howard Hughes or something like that. So I've been kind of in seclusion, and taking a good look at myself, as well as the world around me, and all of this. And I'm just hoping and working every day to try to see this world a little bit better for us all through the pandemic. But to answer that specific question, it's like almost taking a sabbatical up to a mountaintop in a lot of ways, where since you're not doing a lot of your normal routine things, that now you're in a situation where your life is focused and more inward. And so it has affected me a little bit as far as the direction of where we're going and where we want to go. But the bottom line is the dreams and all my hopes for whatever we're all doing in all of this haven't changed. They've grown, and there's a lot of concern I have about what's going on in the world with the pandemic and with everything. So those are my real focuses, and luckily over the years, that's always been the focus.
So during this pandemic, did you do any live streaming?
No, you know what? I have not. And it's a fault. Everyone, I thought about doing it, then everybody started doing it, and then there's a part of me that doesn't want to do what everybody else is doing. And so I've always been like that. If the crowd's going one way, I'm usually going another way. I've never been saying that way with clothes, the way I look, the way I dress. And so have not done that. However, I'm at the point where, and I've told my band and my partner and everything, that we just have to start playing out again. It's just like, it's getting to be too much not doing it. And so, but I've been thinking about the live streaming thing a little bit, and thinking about how best to do it, whether we want to do it with the whole band, shoot a video and do it at the same time, or do some, maybe me solo. So I'm kicking that idea around a little bit, but hopefully by the time I decide to do a live stream thing, we'll be doing a live gig out someplace. Because we've got a few lined up for later on this year.
Awesome stuff. So what was it in your life where you were like, oh my gosh, I have got to get into this this music thing. I've got to do it. Was it a performance? Was it something that you were watching on TV? How did you get the music bug?
Well, you know, I've been blessed. I really believe that when I was in my mother's womb, and a lot of folks don't know my full background, but my mother was a jazz singer in New York, old school, with some of the heavy greats of American jazz. And so I was born around music. I believe I heard music when I was in my mom's womb. But the thing is, then we were on the road. So from my earliest childhood, 2 years old, I remember as a baby reaching up and hitting the tops of congas at different jam sessions at my mom's house in New York. And she always had all these great musicians over. Heavyweight jazz cats just hanging out for dinner with us. And she, I was around it. It was in my blood. Those were my first exposures to music. Was sort of Afro-Cuban jazz, American jazz, as an infant and a very young boy. And I always just loved it. The shiny instruments, the sounds, the smiling faces, the songs, the performance. Then I got a little older. She would take me out to the clubs, and as a very young kid, I'd be a child in these clubs, and I just fell in love with performing and seeing different, instruments and the sounds. So from a very, very early age, I'm going to say well before I was even 5 years old, I was around music, and I think it's sort of been instilled in me growing up as a starting point.
Wow. But it's great to have, musicians in the family. I'm lucky that I had one too. I had my dad and my whole thing.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't mean to cut. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say something about your dad, because as I've gotten to know you the last few years, and of course I found out your dad's an artist too, and sort of looked into his thing a little bit. But the island music, that was another aspect of the music that always just blew me away. Island music, whether it was from Haiti or Dominica or whatever, Harry Belafonte, those island calypso sounds, those marimbas, those different instruments were always magical, and those rhythms, and so I think you're blessed to have your dad and that influence. One aspect of me, a lot of people don't know, I grew up without a father, so I really had the Cherokee grandmothers and my mom, and I had some stepfathers in the jazz world. She married a couple of those cats. But when I see a musical family like yours and doing well, and your dad's done some amazing stuff too. He's charting all over the planet. Congratulations on that. But yeah.
Yeah, he done a little something. How would you? Thank you for that. How would you describe your music?
I knew that was going to come up. It's like the thing with the crowd, okay? I love music. I love so many kinds of music, and I appreciate anybody who's a great artist or a great singer, whatever your thing is. But my music is not really one type or style. It's very hard for me, and in this day and age with the internet, and I'm always, our team is always having to place our music here and there, and they want to, the first thing you say, what genre? And like one song could have a genre, and then my next song will be a totally different sound in a different genre. So, but I believe I kind of created my own little description of what I like to think my music sounds like to other people. So I call it like jazzy pop, bluesy rock. I call it love rock, Latino influenced. Some of it's a little mystical new age feel. But I love Latin music. And I think when you listen to my tunes and you sort of break them down and you listen to all the instrumentations and the rhythms and everything, how we produce, we have that universalist influence in my music. I don't, by design, I do not want to be labeled as either a blues artist or a rock artist or easy listening. I just, so those are my descriptions. Universalist kind of feel, but all of the above. I lean heavily to Afro-Cuban, Latin rhythms, jazz pop. Rock and roll is fine. It's got a lot, but a lot of people forget rock and roll derives directly from the blues, which is an early Americana. So, there would be no rock and roll without blues.
That's true. That's true. And I think a lot of people forget that. But the one thing is that it's great to be versatile, because as a versatile artist, you can get your music into so many different things like film, television, documentaries. You can work for so many different other people. I mean, it's great. If you have a genre and that specific genre is the best one that you're at, that's the one that you should do. But when you are more versatile, you have more leeway for creativity. So, I have the same problem. People ask me, well, what is your genre? And I used to just say I'm an artist, I create. I've gone towards more of the Americana genre because there's a lot of genres in Americana that allows me to do all the genres that I want. I love the singer-songwriter feel of that, so I've stayed with that. But, it's a plus to be able to do all these things. And talking about, film and television, tell us about you working with the Global Film Studio.
Global Film Studio. Let me tell you, I am more excited after 10 years. I've been involved with these guys about 10, 11 years now. And they finally made me head of their music department. I've done a few film scores for them, but we've built a really respectful and great relationship over the years. Bruno Pischiutta, he did get his name right, and Daria Trifu is her name. Got that one wrong, but they have tough names to say. But so I do their film scores. I oversee the music department. So anything coming up that we film, we're under contract for like 5 films. But really the situation being that the music for the various films coming to their own films outside of the awards, the Global Films Awards that they do every year. I'm involved with hands-on. I really get to sort of put the music together for the film on the score level, as well as bring new artists and introduce them to my bosses at Global Film Studio, and sort of try to get them under contract when the cash starts flowing on any different projects. So, I've got a lot of say-so with that in the music part of it, and it's a blessing to do that. I worked with them for, like I said, 10 or 11 years now, and I did just get onto the board in the last couple of years, and I got those contracts, and so I'm very happy with them, and they're doing amazing work. I mean, that company has grown. When they first started out, they were just doing some films, and they were producers. And Global Film Studio, I'm so happy to say, has just blossomed and grown in the last 4 or 5 years. And now they actually have a distribution network company up and running this year, just launched, Global Cinema Online. And they've got some amazing films, like you said in the bio. They're all Hollywood standard films, but without violence and without the gratuitous sex. They're basically human interest films. There's they're all dramatic films, many of them dramatic. But the, documentations of different things that they're doing around the world. There's a great film that just came out Soldiers Without Guns, about the things in Kiwi with New Zealand. There was an outbreak of war, and they settled it with cars instead of guns. I mean, so I'm just blessed to be involved with Global Film Studio, and I love Daria Trifu and Bruno Pischiutta forever. And I'm thinking about getting the company logo tattooed on, but my girlfriend says no.
No.
That's how much I love them.
No,
it's a great company. Yeah, they're a great company, and they're doing some really good work. So if anybody gets a chance, go check them out at Global Cinema Online.
That's fantastic. How important is it for you to be able to speak and sing your truth? How important is it, and this is a two-part question, is it for you to be authentic?
Well, that is a great question, and I thank you so much for asking that, because I got a lot of people, I believe, listening today, trying to find out a little bit more about us and me. And for me, the reason I do what I do with my music and my songs has everything to do with being authentic, as well as being something relevant and realistic for what I believe is good for everybody. In other words, music has never, ever been, a stepping stone kind of a journey for me to get rich and have a flashy car and the Grammy. I mean, I'd love to get a Grammy, but the thing is, I think every artist out here would love to have a Grammy one day. But the authenticism and the realism I bring to my songs, and whether it's a love song or it's some of my other activist songs about important things going on in the world that affect all of us, authenticism has to be there. I don't think you can ever really, really have a true hit record or a hit song if it's not genuine. If there's something there that doesn't capture those thousands and millions of ears that people, when they listen to it for the first time, and the message has got to be on. So for me, being authentic and being for real is everything to me. If I never make a dime in this business again, but I'm known as an artist who did good work with great songs and who was authentic, to use that term, I will feel like I've been a smash success, because that's all I really care about is people understanding that.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of the world, they're craving for, authentic people, real people, because, on the radio, and not to bash the mainstream artists, but it's the same old crap all the time. And so what I've learned through the pandemic, after taking webinars and conferences and social media and all this stuff, is that people are craving the authentic. They're craving the real. They want to be able to listen to people they can relate to. Like, they feel that they could call you up and say, oh, look, this is what I'm going through. Your songs can make them feel better. People want to feel better. People want to know that there are people that are real. And I think authenticism is a big thing right now, because everywhere I turn, I'm always hearing the word authentic. And one of the things for me, I've been pushing my inspirational quotes every morning. I post something about, get it done, being authentic, real, being a badass, whatever. I think it's just, everybody can want to chart. We can want to be nominated. We can win awards and stuff like that. And that's great. But I think, just like you, I have decided also a while back that, I want to be an effective player in life. I want to make a difference in life. This is what I want to be remembered for. Now, you mentioned in your bio about being an activist. Tell us what the World Freedom Project is about.
Well, I've been blessed, and I grew up around, like you said, I said before, a lot of different scenarios, a lot of different races, and I've been one of the blessed people in this country to have grew up around a truly diverse, even though it was a broken family, I grew up around Latinos, African Americans, whatever, people from all over the planet. In the music world, they're there, and my mom was right in the middle of it, and I've had a couple of African American descent stepfathers. I was blessed to not been exposed to the ugly beast racism very much growing up, but so I did see so many different things growing up. There was always something that had to be done. My mom, when I was a kid, used to say, there's people starving in China. So at my earliest age back then, when I started with the music, I heard that phrase, people are starving in China. And I wondered why these kids over there didn't have food. We had, Cheerios and whatever every morning. And we come from a poor background, but we always ate. We always had food. So I didn't understand that. So as I grew older, I sort of just progressed into different areas of things that needed to be addressed because they were just like there. When I was a teenager, Dr. Martin Luther King, all of those things going on. Then later on, I started working with the Native Americans. I'm Cherokee. My great-grandmother's a full-blood Cherokee. And I lived over in Europe for a while as a kid. So when I came back from Spain, the whole Native American thing was happening with Wounded Knee and Woodstock and up there. And we were blessed to I was playing in a band up in the village, and I got into some of the people that were putting the show on. Next thing I know, we're playing in front of all those people for the Wounded Knee concerts. We wrote a song. And so it was just a natural occurrence. And over the years, it seemed like if something popped up that had to be done, I wrote a friggin' song about it, and then I was performing it somewhere, whether it was boat builders down in Naples, Florida years ago who had some job issues. I've always had a knack for writing a song at the right time for something that was important at that moment. And so it became a part of my life because I care so much about this life we have. It's a short time we're on this planet. We try to have as much goodness and fun in our life as possible and eat well. And there's just a lot of conditions around the world, whether it's racism, whether it's food, wars, all of these things that human beings themselves that are supposed to be smarter than that do to each other. Why do humans go to war? There's no logical reason for that. There's no reason for us to kill each other. There's so much food on this planet that everybody could eat. So I've always wanted to just help the world somehow. And my way of helping, I believe, has really always been through the song or music or performing or being there. But I'm involved with a lot of different areas of that like that. And then it commenced to get bigger. So years ago, I was involved with a bear organization called the Ursa Freedom Project, where there were these moon bears who were being kept in cages for like 17 years with Jeanette McDermott's friends that she helped save these bears and shut them down in China where they take their bile out of them, but they put these baby bears and let them grow up in these cages, and they use them to extract chemicals for dyes. I mean, that was just horrendous. So I was involved with them. And then I said, things started happening around the world, more and more the racism, the wars. I said, I want freedom for everybody. I want the World Freedom Project. I want everybody in this planet to be free, and free from governments or free from any kind of slavery or free from anything. If you want to be a free person and do whatever you want to do, that's what the World Freedom Project is. And the vehicle we were using with that, and I've been trying to get this thing slowly grinding off the ground for 10 years, is through music and arts, which are healing and healing vehicles, if you will, of bringing people together. So the World Freedom Project itself has evolved from a need to have a free world to then doing something about it and creating it. So the World Freedom Project song, World Freedom Song, Together We Are One, came about because of that project and the idea, where then I had the great idea. I said, listen, let's get people from all over the world to sing on this song, and every country represented, so we can show everybody in the world that, yes, we can do something as a world family where everyone in the planet can sing a song about freedom, which we all need and love. So that's really what the basis of it is. It's very difficult without having a lot of money and a lot of you know, backing behind that, but we're working on that. And so right now we're garnering our video from as many different people. We have actually lucky enough to have some video from many parts of the world already archived, ready to go on this thing. And we've had one of the series of videos put out. It's going to be done over several videos. And it's tough, but I'm going to do it. It's part of my life's mission. I want to see a song and a music video with representation from every country on the planet. If I get that happening, as long as I'm on this planet and I can get that happening before I leave the planet, I feel like I will have contributed something major to the music world as well as something to the world itself, where long after I'm gone, people can then look back and say, hey, you know what? The world can do something together as one family. So if we can sing a song together, we can all stop fighting together. We can sit down. That's what Soldiers Without Guns is, the latest film with Global Film Studios about, where you can take a guitar and sit down and sing some songs and bring people together with music versus bullets. And so that's what the World Freedom Project is. And I'm glad you asked me that, and we hope you're going to be able to contribute and be in that video project with us also, Natalie.
Fantastic. So we're going to play your song, Every Little Thing. Just let the audience know what that's about.
Okay. That is a very, very special song. Listen, you know me, I'm a hopeless romantic. I believe in love, and I believe people should love and be loved, and everyone has a right to love and needs to be loved. And so I wrote a song about a very special woman in my life who's actually involved with the project also. And these songs come to me on the wind. So when I'm feeling, you know, a certain way and I'm emotional, I'm an emotional guy, I'm an artist, so I'm, you know, very sensitive to feelings, you know, and then exuberance. So I wrote this song, and the song really is my testament. And the reason I believe this song is so powerful and is affecting so many people too is because how that song is for me. I really believe that song is for everyone who really has that special someone and who's lucky enough to have that special person in their life, and those who don't have that yet, but can hear the message in that song and say, wow, you know, that would be great. So that's what love is. So, and it's my version of love. Love could be different for a lot of people, but that song is emotional for me. It's my testimony to try to put into words something that's been said a million times between lovers for throughout history, and just try to say it maybe a little bit different and proclaim to the world that, you know, so, you know, what that person is to me in my life, every little thing. So, and I'd like to point out to the audience too right now that I was blessed with some great artists on this song, great singers, great background vocalists, of which you, Natalie, were kind enough and get me into the schedule. You contributed to the background vocals on this song. And the next thing you know, we won Song of the Year at the Josie Music Awards last year. So it's a powerful song, great artists on there, great messages, the great Natalie Jean. And I thank you so much for bringing that song up.
All right, hold on. We're going to play it.
Every little thing, every little thing, everything there's about you, girl. Every little thing I need to know, baby. Every little thing I want to know, girl. Every little thing is all for me. Every little thing I want to be for you. Every little thing, yes I do. Every little hair upon your head is pure gold. Every little smile was so warm. all the little things you've done for me, for all the little things I want to do for you.
Every little thing.
Yes, I do. You're my love, I know that you are the only one I'll ever need. A special one, you're my shining star. You and me forever, they will always be. You're my every little thing, girl in the whole wide world. You're my everything, everything, girl. You're my whole world. Every little time you look at me, my heart skips a beat. Every time you turn around, it turns me on.
Every little thing you say,
What you do to make me sing, girl? Come on, do some more. Come on, come on, come on, come on, now, baby. Come on, come on, come on, come on now, girl. But every little thing you offer me, every little thing that I can do for you.
every little thing. Yes, I do.
I look outside and I can see sunshine. Yeah, I know some rain has got too far. I don't mind, as long as you're mine. You and me forever. Baby, you're my all, you're my every little thing. Girl in the whole wide world.
Every little thing.
Yeah, yeah, babe. You're my everything, everything, girl. You're my whole
Every
world.
little thing.
You make my heart shine. Make my love song ring. Everything there's about you, girl. Thinking about you,
Every
girl.
little thing.
Baby, you're my everything.
Every little thing.
Everything, 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 girl.
Every little thing. Every little thing.
My everything,
Every little thing.
my everything,
Every little thing.
my everything, girl.
Every little thing.
My everything, girl.
Every little thing. Every little thing. Every little thing. Every little thing.
Audio Jungle.
That was fantastic.
I love that song. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's fantastic. How many people are in your band?
Well, depending on what size of the show is and how much money the venue's got, I try to work with at least 9 to 11 people because we like a full sound, and 2 horns doesn't make it. So I usually try to work with 3 horns or no horns, and then Latin percussion. Yeah, always with 2 or 3 background vocalists, female vocals, because women's vocals are very powerful. And I didn't get a chance to say one thing about the cross support of the women. If you listen to all my songs, I always have women background vocals, because there's a balance there, and there's an energy that a woman's voice brings to a song that men just don't have it. A lead vocalist is one thing, but background vocals have got to be mixed. I always work with women singers. It's one of my trademarks. But I got a pretty good size. I've got a decent core. My bass, my bottom sets are really great. My section, my drummer and bass player, they've been playing together for years, and I'm just blessed to have some great people that I'm working with, performing with us and recording with us. But 7 to 11 is good. And I've worked in bigger. We've done some orchestral stuff too. But usually around 9.
Wow.
is a rounded figure.
What is the one thing you wish you had known before you got into the music business?
I'm going to be honest with you, and it's going to take it in a little bit more of a direction that's important in my life, and I believe for a lot of people out there. And I just wish I had known more about the dangers of drug and alcohol abuse. As a child growing up, I was always exposed around it, and I never knew you weren't supposed to do that as a lifestyle. Right. So I just grew up one day and said, hey, this is no fun. But, I really wished that I hadn't been exposed to the pot and the booze and the different things, the different substances, if you will, growing up and knew of those dangers. So it's a very important thing of wishing I had known then, not to do now that I don't. It would be drugs and alcohol, the drugs and alcohol thing.
Good. Now you heard it here. Well, one thing is to say is that congratulations on your Josie Music Awards nominations. Are you planning to attend the Josies this year?
Absolutely. I wouldn't miss it for the world. And you too, congratulations too for all yours. I can't keep up with yours.
Yeah.
I did the list.
I've got one or two here or there,
Yeah, I know. I got a joke. I'm going to say it on live here in case we don't get to do it on stage. But I did want to say it's kind of a joke, but it's in a way it's realistic. I heard through the grapevine that you're working on a sponsorship thing with with global, not global. Mohawk. That you had a sponsorship deal with Mohawk. I'm goofing it up now because I had to think of it, but that you had a sponsorship deal with Mohawk Rugs because you're on so many red carpets around the world. Now that I totally goofed it up, I promise if we get up on stage live this year, I'll do it. I'll get it right. But you do a lot and you've done a lot, and I always thought that would be a good joke, and I forgot to say it last year.
It is a good one. What is a quote that you like to live by?
Well, I hadn't really thought about that too much.
Or it could be.
Yeah, well, do unto others is always one that comes up front. People need to treat each other how they want to be treated. I believe is very important. But I made up my own one time that I thought was pretty slick. It's that is, that is not, is not that is not that is. And I'll put that in writing, and if you really read that and figure it out, it does make sense. And I'm very good with words, and so that's one of my favorites. But I don't know, the realistic one would be, let's everybody treat everybody kindly, nicely, as and well. There's no reason we can't, as human beings, treat each other with dignity and respect in all walks of life, every country that's on the planet. So that's my biggest thing.
That's great. I agree with you 100%. And what advice would you give somebody that's trying to break into the music industry?
Let's just start off with that first one. Don't get sucked into the glamour, the glitz, and the drugs, sex, and rock and roll. If you really love music, and you whether it's a songwriter and you're a great lyricist and you want to have other people perform, or if you want to perform, whatever you want to do it. Just do it. Don't hold back and for heaven's sake, don't ever listen to anybody who will say that you can never do this, you'll never go there, you can't do that. Because there are people out there for some reason that are like that, sort of try to discourage you. But I would say learn your craft, find out what you really like to do, whether you're a singer, guitar player, pianos, percussion, you want to play fiddle, oboe in a big orchestra. Follow your dream and do it. Chase it and pursue it, because many times, most of the times, it doesn't just knock on your door and say, here we are. You have to earn it. You got to pay your dues. You got to get out there and go for what you want. But don't be afraid. My thing would be to say, don't be afraid to go for it, whatever it is. And don't be afraid to make some mistakes. Don't worry about being an overnight success. If you love music, just do it. Do your music and let that music and let that magic take over your life and your body. And it is a mystical force, and it will take you places that you've never been, and hopefully where you want to go with it. So that's my biggest advice for people, I believe. Just do it, follow your dreams, and don't take no for an answer. Just keep knocking on doors, whatever you got to do, and things will come together for you at some point.
Amen, hallelujah. Well, you heard it here. That was producer and singer-songwriter, award-winning producer and singer-songwriter J. Jourden on Chatting with Nat. Jay, it's been great to have you on Chatting with Nat, and hopefully, eventually, we can do an IG Live if you get on Instagram. And if not,
sure.
then, we can set that up. And then I'll see you in September for the JMAs.
I will be, and I follow you around the world too, Natalie. I want to thank you so much for having me on your show. This is a big thing for me. You're a rock star in my world, and you've got a lot of love and respect out there from a lot of artists, and you're singing and performing in whatever genre is coming next, whatever language. You're truly an artist to watch and look up to. And so thank you for having me in your small circle, your large circle, my humble circle into your circle. Thank you so much, Natalie Jean, for having me on your show today.
It was awesome having you. I learned so much. So have a great day. Have a great week. And I can't wait to do an IG Live.
Yeah, that's something that I'll think about those streaming deals, and then maybe do some live stuff. But we got some live shows coming up. We're going to video, and we're working on some videos. So I know everybody wants to see us performing, so we're working on that.
All right.
Thanks, Ian. I'm looking. That IG thing would be great.
Yeah, let's do it. Awesome sauce. All right, like I said, this is Chatting with Nat with producer and singer-songwriter J. Jourden. Go find him at www.jjourden.com, and you'll learn some wonderful things, amazing things. Until next time on Chatting with Nat.
Chatting with Nat is a podcast for independent women seeking to speak their truth and to break down barriers. We host honest conversations that help to guide and empower women. Speak your truth and set yourself free. Let your voice be heard.